Audley Scott, and you're listening to Flashpoint Radio. Rise and shine, your morning boost of inspiration, news, and fun. With Mikey G, Lady Elise, and Coralie Karen, the unmistakable combination, synergized to navigate.
Happy Constitution Day, Cayman Islands. Yes, it's a beautiful morning. It's Monday morning, and while the rest of the world is busily hurrying to work, I suspect you might be busily getting some extra rest and enjoying the long weekend.
Mercy, for many persons, that have to work, some jobs you never get a day off on it. And so for those who can take that time off, I suggest that you do and appreciate the time off that you get. So like you said, happy Constitution Day today, Cayman, and of course we have much more in store for you to come when we come back.
To build your dream home or renovate your space, M&M Construction is the perfect place. We bring your vision to life with precision and quality craftsmanship. From design to construction, we guide you every step, ensuring seamless coordination and superior results. Our professional roof inspection and maintenance services will ensure that your roof is sturdy this hurricane season. So, if you are ready to start your construction journey, call us today at 345-927-7509. Build with confidence. Build with M&M Construction. 345-927-7509.
Welcome back. If you are tuned in via Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or any of our social media pages, we welcome you. It is the breakfast hour, and of course this is the special Constitution Day edition. So if you're in the Cayman Islands, then today is a public holiday. If you're not, you should be up and ready and maybe already at work. So wherever you find yourself this morning, I say a pleasant day to you. Hi, Mikey G. How are you doing?
Well, that was the first line of the thinking, how am I doing this morning? I'm doing fine this morning, Elise. I'm up. And I was reminding our listeners this morning that today is not just the first day of the week, but the first working day of the week. And so yesterday, it was for many persons who would go for recreational time, relaxation, and many persons who go to church or go to the temple to worship God and to say thank you for all that He has done. And many things happen, of course. But today, first working day of the week, and I am doing fine. I want to say to you, our listeners this morning, I want to say welcome to the breakfast hour. I trust and hope that you also had a great weekend. And today we have so much to talk about, ladies.
Well, let's get talking. Before we get talking, it's time for our devotional, and of course, done by Miss Susan Long.
Of course, when we come back.
Good morning. This is day 7. Every spirit that does not confess that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is a spirit of the Antichrist. 1 John chapter 4 verse 3. Lost Books, written by Dennis Fisher. Everybody likes a good story, but many people started to take the best-selling novel, The Da Vinci Code, as historical fact. Central to the book's plot line is the allegation that lost books of the Bible have been suppressed by the church for centuries. These lost books claim that Jesus married Mary Magdalene and had children with her. This radically misrepresents history and is misleading and has misled many people. These alleged lost books of the Bible were found at Nag Hammadi, Egypt in 1945. They deny the biblical Jesus and promote goddess worship, self-deity, and secret knowledge. So why did the church exclude these books from the Bible? Because the documents did not meet the criteria for authentic scripture, which involved several central questions. Was the writer someone Jesus had chosen as an apostle? Did the book have widespread acceptance among church leaders? Did God's Spirit speak through it? The lost books did not pass these tests. All the books we have in our New Testament did. When people question the trustworthiness of the scriptures, we need to give them a respectful and an informed answer. It might just make them want to know more about our Bible and about our God. God's words of pure eternal truth shall yet unshaken stay when all that man has thought or planned, like chaff, shall pass away. Our quote this morning reads, "To the wise, God's word is sufficient." End quote.
Welcome back, welcome back. Of course, it's the breakfast hour. I want to thank Susan for the able way in which she presents the devotional every morning. You know what I like most about them, Mikey G? The fact that real life situations are looked at in a way that we can identify with, and we get a nice experience from that devotional each and every time.
You know that sometimes the daily it's like this, right? I listen to many people expound upon the Bible and biblical principles, but somehow they can always talk about Egypt, Canaan. They can talk about the beginning of time and Noah and the ark and everything, but they cannot align biblical truths and principles to modern day events that are actually taking place, and can align them and say, look at what happened then, and look at this mirrors what you're seeing now. And when you say these things, people look at you and they want to ignore it and say, you know, you're just making fuss, you're just making a mess, you're trying to cause trouble, you're trying to, you know, stir up the status quo, you know. But then I looked at the word Antichrist. When I saw the word Antichrist, I said to myself, Antichrist, which is Antichrist. And then, is that who is Antichrist so much? But what sometimes is Antichrist? So if I'm doing something wrong, I must know it is wrong. That's a principal truth, you know. You know what's really disturbing? That when you're doing something wrong and you don't know, you don't have a clue, and you're saying to yourself, oh, I'm right in all of this, I did it. But if I did something, I say, I did a little bit too much. I think I went a little bit too far, you know. But then you have persons who don't know that this is, it can't be. So here is Antichrist for you. Antichrist. Anyone who claims or profess something and teach something that is not true. Antichrist. All right. So if you have some practices in your churches, not in the buildings now, because when I talk about church, I don't talk about the buildings. If anybody know about Michael G, I don't talk about the buildings as churches. I talk about the churches as the temple of God. What we have done so far, though, is that we have minimized God's temple to the church of a place where the people meet for their recreational and their social activities. But if you recognize it as God's temple, then when you come in there, you'll probably leave out somebody's social activities. You understand? And no says worship time. And this was something that was brought to my attention on the weekend. I want to say good morning to a few persons this morning, but I'll start with a man called Riley. I think it's Fitzroy Riley. Yeah. And he brought something to my attention, Lady Elise, earlier on this week, on the weekend, that says, do you realize that most persons these days who pray to God no longer, well, not in every place, not in every place. I said most persons. Well, maybe I made a mistake in saying most persons.
Have you done a survey?
That's what I'm saying. So let me fix that. So I say most persons that I know.
Yes.
Most persons that I know.
Yes.
No longer kneel to pray to God anymore. And people have been trying to implant everybody when you're 5-year-old have arthritis nowadays, right? Nobody wants to kneel to pray to the sovereign God anymore. Don't you find that alarmingly strange?
We could ask a question. Alright, so God still hears your prayer, right? Whether you're standing or kneeling.
And I'm going to say, of course it's true. You're right. But there's a point when you come to worship Him, it's a different mechanism altogether. If I'm standing here in a crowd and I'm saying, God, I thank you for today. It's a wonderful morning. And I'm talking to God as a friend. But if I decide to go for a midday prayer that I would normally do,
yes,
I would go down on my knees and go penitent before God, because now I am in worship, not just praying. So when we come in worship to God, this is, and worship to God don't mean you have to go in the temple 8 days of the week, 10 days of the week. It means you go into worship every time you select that time. And so we are we are encouraged to do it 3 times per day, morning, noon, and night. And if you talk to God all through the day, that's all right. But these 3 times we come in worship to Him, and so it is required of you to pay that respect. It's like going into your boss's office. As you walk in there, sit down in the chair and say, "Hey, what's up, buddy?"
Well.
So we're treating God as if it's some, what's up, buddy? That kind of thing. And because He extends the friendship to us, we repay that back with disregard and disrespect. And so I want us to be mindful that when we are praying, at least, man, show that you have some respect.
When you pray, don't forget.
Especially when you're in the temple. When you're in the temple, you should remember to kneel. Every single time. It's not one time stand up and one time sit down. Every time. Now, if you can't kneel, your knees are not there on your body anymore, you have arthritis or any of those things, I am not saying that you have to, but I'm sure that some persons who God have saved from cancer and all these things, and you say pray to God, they want to get down on their knee even when they can't get up out of the wheelchair. And the only reason they're on the knee is because they can't move. That's it. But yet still those who can, oh Lord, oh merciful Father, mighty you are.
So now, Mikey, I need to remind you that today is Monday, and the feature for today is what's happening in our world.
I was saying the same thing,
So, listeners and viewers, if you're just joining us for the breakfast hour, No, it's not a sermon. We're just continuing the conversation based on our devotional this morning, and some profound points being brought out by Mikey G this morning.
Well,
And sometimes our perspective, Mikey G, the will or how deliberate we are in our actions, yes, is paramount,
it's
even more than the
necessary.
arthritis or the whatever feelings we have. But just to remind our listeners, there are a lot of things happening. If you have been following the news, we're going to share just a few items that we have selected to share with you this morning
Yes.
as you get your morning going. If you're in the Grand K and you're in for a little later sleep, please go ahead and share the link. Get up with us. Share the morning with us on the breakfast hour. And of course, we promise not to traumatize you too much.
Well, all right. So the sermon is over. The benediction. So the altar call is coming, and so for those who say Amen and say Hallelujah,
And so say all of us.
and so say all of us, we're going to say Praise the Lord. That's it. All right. And so
Yes.
Hallelujah. While it is the highest praise to the Almighty God, it is indeed the breakfast hour, and this is where we share a little bit of everything for you on your plate this morning. Sometimes a little bit of buffet style, a little bit.
Yes.
Sometimes we we are mindful that we are going to just share it out for you. When some of it, you share it out. Like like when you had the men's day and stuff like that, and the men walk up and they line up for the food, like the people at what you call it, at the homeless people, and they went to line up for the food. Yeah, like that. You're serving it out like that this morning, like the men's day program. We're serving it out like the men were treated on Father's Day, Sabbath. Yeah, that's it. All right. Having said that, and I promise that I won't stop until somebody speaks about it. All right, that's what I'm saying. All right. It was an awful thing to see, ladies, and I'm sorry that it is just a burden, and it's awful. It's a rough thing to see. All right. Having said that, ladies, what's going on in our world today? Let's hear about this. I look at a few items. A few things.
Yes.
A few things that we know is we have a new outbreak of what's that? Measles.
Let's clear that, because what we have discovered is that for over 25 years,
Yes.
measles was considered eradicated in the US,
Yes.
right? But what has been happening? Let's find out more as to what we have discovered in the news recently.
Our world. Measles cases are reaching alarming levels in the US. This year, we've seen more measles cases than any year since 2000, with over 1,277 confirmed cases. Most of these cases are in Texas, particularly Gaines County, where vaccination rates are dangerously low. Tragically, 3 lives have been lost, including 2 children, all unvaccinated. Health officials are raising the alarm as over 38 states report cases. The CDC warns we could lose our measles elimination status if this outbreak continues. Efforts are underway to expand vaccine access and immunization clinics for infants. But misinformation and declining vaccine rates are fueling the spread. Public health leaders urge everyone, especially travelers, to get fully vaccinated with the MMR vaccine.
All right, full vaccination. Yeah. I'm worried. I'm gonna be honest.
Right. Well, MMR. I should probably get my facts up regarding it because I remember when the MMR vaccine was initially introduced, right? Now, MMR is measles, mumps, and rubella.
Right.
Right? So it's a combi vaccine, and it was added to the group of vaccines that you get routinely. Right? So it's not like an optional vaccine. Now, for US too, they had in 2000 considered to have eradicated measles, but now what they're seeing is an increase in cases. And you might say you're in the Caribbean, or you're in the Cayman Islands, or you're in another neck of the woods. But what we do recognize that we do in fact live in a global village, and COVID-19 taught us that, right? And so when one person hurts or one country face these challenges quickly, it reaches you as well. What do you need to know? Since you know now that there are cases of measles increasing in the US, what do you know about measles, Mikey G?
Well, when I was a kid, I got it. I had a little bumps all over my skin and all these things that I can figure out. So I would say
Okay.
that I would say that I have created antibodies against it already. I would need more vaccination for it.
Well, I received the MMR vaccine. I remember when
I
it
possibly
came out.
would have. I'm thinking
Yes.
maybe.
Now, measles is also called rubiola, and it was a childhood illness. It's caused by a virus that spreads easily through the air and settles on surfaces. A vaccine can be used to prevent measles infection. Most people recover from measles in about 10 days. It usually doesn't cause long-term medical issues, but measles can be serious and even deadly. This is especially true for children younger than 5 and more persons with weakened immune systems. Measles is treated by managing symptoms and preventing complications. So what is recommended is that you do get the MMR vaccine. Now the symptoms show up 7 to 14 days after contact with the virus. And the first symptoms usually are fever, which may be as high as 105 degrees Fahrenheit, dry cough, runny nose, red watering eyes called conjunctivitis, and about 2 to 3 days after the first symptoms, you may see spots inside the mouth, and then also you could have a rash. The rash made up of large flat spots and small raised bumps. The rash starts on the face or neck and spreads down the body from the chest to the arms and legs. A person with measles can spread the virus 4 days before the rash appears and 4 days after. Measles can spread very easily. About 90% of people who haven't had measles or haven't been vaccinated will become infected when around someone with measles. So it's a very highly contagious condition, and so we recognize that persons are getting less vaccines. Based on the news, persons are not vaccinated because of sometimes misinformation. This is what is here. Sometimes misinformation and persons, and really and truly, as technology improves, I mean, it's good to know that you don't have to get things like chickenpox, measles, mumps. Do you know that, especially for the males, mumps can cause infertility?
Well, I know there's a thing called typhoid fever,
Yes.
and I understand it can also that particular disease or ailment can cause deafness in the ear.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that my father had typhoid fever, and I wondered. I asked the question why my father was not hearing well. You understand? And because my father wasn't hearing well, I asked the question. But because they always say to me, "Boy, you had a hearing, man," and they always,
Yes.
I was wondering if I had the same problem my father had,
I mean, you come up with that. Well, so that's what that there are other things also happening in our world, Mikey G. And the next item that we want to share with you. So certainly the heartrending one to
Yeah,
see what's
well, this is
happening.
this is a setup before you get into it, ladies. Is we talk about this the whole situation that these youngsters would have gone out on you know a recreational trip, and many of our young people do it on a yearly basis, usually during this time of the summer. Summer
Right.
camps are being held, camping out and all that is a big thing because youngsters are cooped up in the school houses. I see the school system really as a bother. You know, I was jumping across. I had I had a point to make before I went off a little bit and it just came back. If I detract just a minute, anti-vaxxed is what I listened to a while ago from the vaccine story. Sorry, I just jumped back for a second.
Yes.
And then I'm a sticky pad here. I'm writing on my sticky pad, right? So I wrote it down and I glanced a while ago when I was talking, and then I realized that I didn't make the point. And so it says anti-vaxxed, right? This was a statement that was used during COVID, and there were people who are
Yes.
anti-vax and there were people who are believing in the vaccinations, and there are
Mhm.
people have a statement that it says my body, my choice.
Right.
Is that a true statement or is it a false statement?
Hmm.
Is it true or false? My body, my choice.
Well, it is your choice and it's your body because, well, let me qualify that because to enter public school, a legal requirement is that you complete the recommended vaccination schedule as per your area that you live in. So if you're going into school, you do show your vaccination card, and rightly so, because they are highly contagious diseases, which we just spoke about. We spoke about measles and the fact that there are rising cases now. Three children have died as a result of measles, which is it's a childhood disease and persons should not die at this stage from a disease like measles. So there is vaccination is one of the main way that we limit the spread of these contagious diseases. So legally, as I say, my body, my choice, even though you have a choice, it is a requirement in several schools, depending on where you live in. Different countries have different laws that require, and not just for the health of your child, but the health of the community at large.
All right, I guess I'm gonna just leave it there. I'm gonna move on to the next piece that is on the table. All right, so we're talking about these young people across Texas that were on camping, and they had a situation going on with them, the ladies. And I'm telling you, it was a tragic thing to see so many of our young people just dying. I mean, the
Yeah,
next
let's
generation of
hear
us.
more.
So
Let's hear
let's
more.
share this one with you this morning when we.
What's happening in our world? Texas flash flood tragedy. Tragedy has struck central Texas, where devastating flash floods have claimed the lives of at least 82 people, including 28 children in Kerr County. Among those still missing are 10 girls and a camp counselor from the well known Camp Mystic. Authorities continue to search the area in hopes of locating survivors. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has warned that the threat is far from over, with more rain forecasted. Flash flooding remains a serious concern, especially in Hunt, a community in Carr County where residents have been urged to move to higher ground as a precaution. This disaster has also raised difficult questions about emergency preparedness. Records reveal that Carr County officials had previously discussed installing flood warning sirens, but the plan was never implemented. Meanwhile, Although the National Weather Service issued several alerts before the storm hit, concerns have emerged about whether the agency was adequately staffed and resourced to effectively warn residents in time. As rescue efforts continue, the focus remains on saving lives, accounting for the missing, and supporting affected families. Our thoughts and prayers are with all those impacted by this unfolding disaster. Stay with us for updates on this developing story.
Lady Lisa, I'm telling you, this one has just bowled me for 6 on this one. It's not easy to look and see so many of our youngsters dying. It's like as if for no reason.
Yes, yes. So as we discover, and that's we had a discussion, not recently, but we had a discussion about water versus fire and which is more destructive. Now,
Right.
what you need to know about this disaster is that the catastrophe unfolded in the early hours on Friday as the Guadalupe River rose more than 26 feet or 8 meters in less than an hour,
Wow.
causing widespread damage. Now, we are in the peak of the hurricane season. We are in the hurricane season, and we share information. We know the dates. We know that it's the 1st of June, and we know that it ends the 30th of November. The fact is, this is what can happen in a natural disaster.
In less than how many hours?
Less than an hour.
Less than an hour.
Water
How many feet?
rose
10 feet of water?
26
feet, almost 30
of
feet.
water in less than an hour,
Wow.
causing widespread
Wow.
damage.
Wow.
Of course,
Wow. Wow.
they are expecting more storms in the region over the next 24 to 48 hours with flood alerts in place. With so at least this evening, more than 80 people are confirmed dead. And the Camp Mystic, a girls' summer camp in Carr County, has confirmed that at least 27 girls and staff are among those missing. So today, if you're just joining us for the breakfast hour, we are sharing what's happening in our world. And of course, this one has made the headlines Friday. What started off as a nice event. Can you imagine your children or your siblings, or you go on a summer camp? That's what you do for summer, right?
Wow.
Right? And of course, they are in the vicinity. They are in Carr County in Texas. Lots of rain, lots of flooding, water rising. And if you looked at the clip that we shared, there was a lady in a tree.
I think it was it was a young, I think it's a little young lady, small baby girl, hanging on for her dear life. She climbed the tree. She climbed the tree when the water started rising. At least she get a chance to grab her. Maybe she was being washed away and she got a chance to grab onto the tree. Many didn't have the same experience. They probably washed past or probably could not swim. Ladies, I speak about the ability to learn how to swim. And I tell persons all the time that it's a very important skill. People says, this is one thing I tell people, and they will say to me, I am so afraid of water. I stay on dry land. No, this is an assumption that these young people were on dry land, and out of nowhere, water came. No, I always say it's better to have something and do not want it or need it than to need or want something and do not have it. So I would say to someone, I would love for everyone to learn the one basic thing is how to swim. How to swim. Because you have a higher chance. I can't tell you the percentage of chance that you will live. But for me, I would think a 90% chance of living over a 10% chance of dying in a case when you can't swim. But there are circumstances that mitigate against that completely, where a tsunami or something might come, and even at that point, you still have that 90% chance.
But I mean, rising water like that, water rising within an hour, and you've been swept away by the water. How do you survive
but
that?
at least, come on, if you were able to swim, you'd be targeting different places. You're saying, that's the nearest tree, I'm going to go for that one. Because there were trees in the path. There was trees in the path. And so while you're going down and it's washing your way, you are trying to battle yourself across to get to the place where you can rescue yourself. Now, if you miss the opportunity, then you can understand that you have failed, but then the failure leads into death or demise, right, in this sense. But the idea is, if you have the ability, but then here is someone who do not have the ability, and that person, by not having the ability, simply fail already.
Yes.
You're not going to pass. You're not going to get a chance anymore. Your chances are gone. Your chances are, you've ended your chances. And so that is what I'm actually saying this morning, that for those who can swim, or if you can't swim, now is a time when you can learn how to do that one thing. Learn how to swim. And that is what I'm saying. And so this is something that I've for a long time preached about, talked about, explained. And so I would tell everyone that all my children can swim. All my children can swim. And I would tell you that I took a deliberate action of throwing them off in the deep end of the water very early, so they paddle back to shore.
When you say that, I immediately thought about the bird learning to fly, and how if they are taught how to fly,
right?
You just have to fly.
But be honest with you. Birds teach their young the same way, as you said. And for those who don't know, when the young is born, I'm going to just make it graphic enough for you. They're in the tallest tree maybe, and the mother bird pushes the little bird, the little small, we call it a chick, out of the nest, and it has two choices: fall to the ground and let the cats and fox or any other animal grab it and eat it, or simply fly and survive all of that, because it's an animal that can soar above all the cats that are on the ground and any little fox that can eat you. So you have to be that bird. You as a person must be that bird, I would say, as a metaphorical terminology this morning, to be able to use those wings that are spread to fly, and don't just fall on the ground fluttering around with your wings. Use them, learn, practice, soar this morning. Alright, sad story, Lady Elise, but I know authorities, despite their best efforts, can't bring back those lives. So
yes, and the search still continues. So, and let's keep those persons encouraged that are affected by the flood waters there over in Texas. And if you're in the area or you can extend a helping hand, please do so. And if you want to also research how you can help, please go right ahead, because although we share these stories, it's not just to add to the list of things. It's what we can do as neighbors. Who is your neighbor? The question is asked. Who is your neighbor?
yes,
What, it's happening way over there, or is it happening right in my neighborhood? And also, it's life lessons for us to learn. We are in the hurricane season. If you're in the Caribbean or in the Atlantic area, and that reminds me, our third name system, Chantal, was formed over the weekend as well, and impacting the Carolinas. So what we learned certainly from these news items is what we can do to be prepared ourselves as we are in the midst of the hurricane season. Happy Constitution Day. Welcome to the breakfast hour. I am Lady Eloise, and of course, happy to be in the space with you today.
Alright, so we're going to take a short break. Of course, we have much more to talk about. And of course, when we come back, this segment is brought to you by M&M Construction. For all your construction needs right here in the Grand Cayman Islands. Of course, coming up, we have much more to let you know and talk about.
When you need ultrasound that's safe and effective, you must visit Asai Ultrasound Imaging. They're conveniently located at number 4 Chestnut Center, Smith Road, Georgetown, Cayman Islands. With experienced technologists with over 20 years experience, their friendly staff will make you comfortable while you get your procedure done. Asai Ultrasound Imaging is open Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. Call Asai Ultrasound Imaging 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426. That's 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426.
I'm Audley Scott, and you're listening to Flashpoint Radio, Rise and Shine, your morning boost of inspiration, news, and fun. With Mikey G, Lady Elise, and Coralie Karen, the unmistakable combination synergized to navigate.
You ever hear earthquake call and say, "Hello, Miss Lee, yes, it's me, earthquake, I come in Tuesday around 10? No, sir. Earthquake does arrive unannounced, and when it come, it shake all sense and sensibility out of we. Remain calm, stay inside, and do the DCH. Drop, cover, hold on. Once the shaking starts, you know it's earthquake. Make a quick move to a safe place. Don't go to the doorway or any exit. Stairs might block up or full of people. Elevator, avoid that, because you might get in and poof, power gone, and you're stuck in that box without ear. Take cover under a strong table or a bed, or crouch against an inside wall or in a corner, and cover your face and your head with your arms. Remember, DCH, drop, cover, hold on. Glass windows and doors, outside walls and doors in an earthquake, bad news. Take care yourself. Most injuries during earthquakes happen when something drop and hit people entering or exiting a building. Last thing, don't want to run outside and ask, you feel it, you feel it? Remain calm, stay indoors until all the shaking stop, and do the DCH, drop, cover, hold on.
Ready? That's what we say this morning. We are ready to go, and indeed it is another beautiful morning right here in the Grand Cayman Islands. And we're letting you know this morning that today we are celebrating Constitution Day in the Caymans. Yeah. Big holiday for everyone. So, you know, it is troubling that the construction guys don't get it. Are those bosses? I think it's the bosses, you know? I don't think it's the guys who go to work. I think it's the bosses who does it. Couldn't they just give them the day off with pay just the same as if like everybody else? Everybody else get day off and get paid to do it. Construction guys have to go to work and still earn the day pay on the holidays. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, just a reminder. I know you're you know it's Constitution Day, but just for those tracking Chantal, tropical weather outlook as of 7 a.m. this morning issued by the National Hurricane Center for the North Atlantic, Caribbean Sea and the Gulf of America active systems. The Weather Prediction Center is issuing advisories on Tropical Depression Chantal, located inland over eastern Virginia. Tropical cyclone formation is not expected during the next 7 days. That is the latest update on what's happening at the National Hurricane Center. So, Chantal is a tropical depression based on the latest update, moving across southern and eastern Virginia, and flash flood threat continues near and northeast of the center. That's the latest.
I normally hear about the Gulf of Mexico, that these hurricanes normally develop around that side. So what you're saying to me that the hurricanes are not developing on that side of the anymore, the Gulf of Mexico?
Oh no, I'm not saying that. Well, that's the latest in what's happening based on the latest update from the Hurricane Center in Miami.
Do you know where the Gulf of Mexico is?
It's the Gulf of America, yes.
No, you're saying the Gulf of Mexico is the Gulf of America?
Yes.
So you're saying that I can just call anything I want and it
No,
just
not you. Not you. Not you.
why not me?
No, not you.
Because I'm wondering where to go. You said the Gulf. I heard you say it's the
there
first
are certain
time.
requirements.
Yes.
There are certain requirements
Yes.
for you to name a place.
All right. Fine. Yeah, all right. What?
And I not that I don't know if you fulfill the requirements. I don't know what the requirements are
All right.
specifically. But
Fine.
I can do my due diligence. I
But
can do my research. But at this time, Mikey, I don't think that you can. I don't know.
I think I can.
Maybe.
I think I can. But why? You know why? I would say all right. So I would say this then, that by just be virtually of just being me, and not just
Yes.
me, just being man, being a male,
Yes.
being designed by God, who can name everything. Just that, and so many persons don't still think that that's a thing. This is such a very big thing that the enemy is fighting it so much. You know what? Never got a chance. You know how it's important for us to understand this one little thing. That one little thing that I just point out. That just being a man, being male, being born a boy. One of my superpower is to be able to name anything. So if I get married, Lady Elise, I can name the woman that I marry. What? It's my woman. So I name her. It's my woman, so I name my woman. It's my power. It's my power.
Thank you for that.
And all the men who didn't remember, I didn't realize that you are the one who have the power to name your woman. So how come?
I have to remind the listeners that today we are focusing on what's happening in our world.
I know, but listen to this part.
I have to bring them. I have to appraise them of where.
Let me bring it home. Let me bring it home for you.
So
let me bring it home for you. Let me bring it home for you.
That there's a depression.
Let me bring it home for you. Let me bring it home for you, ladies.
And Chantal is in the Gulf of America.
That's what I'm sharing. That's what I'm sharing.
Of Mexico.
That's what I'm sharing.
Michael G
That's what I'm sharing.
The analogy of naming. So if you're just joining us.
Who can name?
Yes.
That's a power that is being sorted after. So I'm saying, to name it the Gulf of Mexico and then name it the Gulf of America. I mean, who does that? But then it is perfectly in the purview of those who have control over the narrative.
Yes.
Makes sense, right?
Yes.
And so every man that is born male is given that right as well to be able to name these things. So I just want to bring that point out. So when I say flashpoint become a reality.
Yes.
Because I can do it. But then not only that, that is a position that anyone has in that sense. So if you said flashpoint, Lady Elise, it could happen. But guess what? Wants to happen. Nowadays we want the women to be able to name the men. So if your surname was Bachelor, then your husband must be named Mr. Bachelor too. Are you naming him? And all the men who are getting named, Alright, anyways. Hurricane, depression, and of course constitution. When we talk about constitution, we talk about the idea, Lady Elise, before we get into that there is a principle of law in place that was clearly and carefully orchestrated, crafted, and designed, right? So, and the constitution is the backbone or the basis on which all laws are formed and of course executed. I want that to be clear to everyone who listens, that constitutions are not just words, that is a word that is being said, but something that is even far more reaching than the innermost self. It is like setting up what you call a character of how to proceed throughout your life, right? So you can, as a person, can set up a constitution for yourself and say, this is my constitution and this is how I intend to carry out my affairs of how I want to live my life and treat others. Now, the constitution of each country is designed to protect the citizens of the country and always also to suggest how you should treat others outside of your country. So if you are living in a country that says you can't stay more than 10 days living here because we don't want you here more than 10 days, that's the constitution. The laws are in place that the constitution will be there in place that you could set laws in place to work that law to make that happen. If we're going to say we're going to have same-sex marriages, you'd have to change something in the constitution to adapt to that. Because the constitution would say we are a Christian nation, for argument's sake. And as I was talking about naming, this is what is being attacked with that notion of same-sex marriages, which in essence are null and void. They're not really marriages, but people say that they are, and so the laws set in place say it is. But we are not going to hold to that. I am not going to hold to that. I won't include you in it. I'm going to say me, myself, and I, and my family will not hold to that ideology that two men can be husband and wife, and two women can be. I'm not going to do that. But having said that, this is where we are today. And so we understand we had a wonderful gay parade and on the weekend. On the National Sabbath Day too. I don't hear much about that. What say you, Lady Elise?
I haven't heard much about that either, but what I do know is that the US had a 4th of July celebration on Friday, and so there was lots of fireworks and persons done in their red, white, and blue. And of course, the celebration continued, I believe, into the weekend as they had their 4th of July, one of the biggest holidays in the US, was celebrated over the weekend as well. We will get more information regarding that march that you said. At the moment, I don't have a lot of information about what's happened there, but certainly we will make an effort to find.
I think we should get the footage and stuff, because I'm sure that there are lots of footage floating around, because it's called Pride Month, Pride March, and so you're proud to march on that ideology. So let's be proud to show the pictures and the videos. Okay.
And of course, with all that said, we also must share that a historic moment in the General Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. Now, if you are listening to the Breakfast Hour,
that was right after the sermon this morning.
You're not a Seventh-day Adventist. Of course, the Seventh-day Adventist Church has been around for a very, very long time.
Since 1844, 1845, we have been established. Well, I think they said established by 1846, right about there. If my event calendar of events are correct and my history of timing and events are correct, 1846. But then the movement began from 1844, when this was a man who went around preaching about the end time and made a mess of things. As people would say, he's a cultish, he was a cult leader and all kind of nonsense. But everybody who says these things, when I hear the word cult, what I start to realize is that there's a system at play that wants to stop you from operating in your best interest and try to steer you away from some of the real things. It's like saying, if you decide to say that you're going to take yourself away from societal norms and live outside of the fence of society, you're now becoming a cultish mindset or a cultish behavior or something to that effect. And I don't think so. I think there's something that needs to happen. And while you're not living above the law, but I think there must be some place that you can have some sanity or sanctity for yourself if you so desire, without being continuously bombarded by the ideologies that I must live in these what you call them, economic zones or 15-minute cities, that I have to be in this little chicken coop kind of mentality. I don't want to be doing it. I want to buy a piece of land, man, and I have 20 acres and I'm living on it, in the middle of it. Yes, man.
On that note, Mikey G, I was on the path to say the General Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. Of course, they have their conference session, or the session is where members or the executive members, the leader of the entire Seventh-day Adventist Church are selected.
Yes.
Delegates travel from all over the world, and of course, Pastor Mark made a presentation which gave us a very detailed overview on what the process involves. Now, this is the 62nd session, and it's held on the 3rd to the 12th of July 2025. And I understand that the first non-English speaking president has been selected, and he's from Brazil. Now, we're going to just share a little snippet of his
all right, let's go.
Moment. Yes.
You can imagine how challenging this moment is. No one is prepared for that. And I'm feeling like I am speechless now. I had just some minutes or seconds to try to organize something that I could express to you. But before any other word, I'd like to tell you that I will move forward, renewing my confidence in the Lord and in His church. In our family worship every Friday, we have a tradition. We always spend time expressing our gratitude to the Lord. The Friday welcome to the Sabbath is a moment when we spend a lot of time sharing what we have in our hearts related to the week that's moving to the end, recognizing God's hands in our lives. And at the end of our worship, we like to get a Bible verse from a small box. One Bible verse in Portuguese, our language, and another one in English, because you can see that we are always learning this language. And in the last weeks, many times when we had our worship, we got the Bible verse, and the same Bible verse came to us. And when I started to think about something to say to you, the first thought that came to my mind was, repeat the Bible verse that I sent to you in the last few weeks. And the Bible verse is Isaiah chapter 41 verse 10. Probably all of you know this Bible verse by memory. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Again, I would like to renew my confidence in the Lord and in His church. He is behind everything. He is behind everything. This is not an easy decision. It was a very challenging decision for my family. And we hesitated before we gave the final response. But we talk it together. Because we are a family, we are serving in ministry together, we accept, we move, we come back always as a family. But we are moving forward, trusting in the owner of this church. I would like to express some words of gratitude in this moment. Number one, gratitude to the Adventist worldwide family represented today by you, the delegates, representing the 212 countries around the world where our Seventh-day Adventist Church family is present. Expressing gratitude to the special guests, to those who are in the bleachers just watching the program, for those who are online. And I'm sure that if you are a faithful member of this church, you are praying now. You are renewing your commitment to the Lord and asking the Lord guidance to this church. Because always when we have a change in leadership, everything is new. And we would like to see not the human being speaking or leading. We would like to see the Lord speaking and leading. And if you are a faithful member of this church, I count on your prayers, on your support, in your kindness. Let us move forward together. It's not time for division. It's not time to highlight our differences. This is a time to move forward together, because the outpouring of the Holy Spirit will come upon this church when we are together. Our mission will be accomplished when we are together. That is the reason why the Secretary report this morning was focused on integrated formation. I believe in integration. The Lord asks us integration. Everyone working together with different flavors, colors, languages, cultures, but always moving forward together. This is the call that we have received from the Lord. Because when we are united, we are stronger, we go further, and we arrive faster. Dear Church of the Lord, let us move forward together. My word of gratitude to you for the confidence. And my gratitude for all of those who express a different opinion. You are part of our family, and we appreciate you as well.
All right. It is, all right. So for those who are different opinions, different, the last time I listened to the conversation, I heard about supporting ministry and independent ministry. I heard that conversation on the table. I don't know. Up until now, I'm trying to still figure it out. What are supporting?
You have to qualify the conversation, Michael G. Remember, our audience, don't know, have to be, so you have to break it down and say, okay, we are speaking now from the perspective of what's happening in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, which you are a member of. So I want to say welcome to our listeners and viewers that are tuned in from all over the globe, from all different denominations. Yes, Michael G. And we welcome you to the breakfast hour. Now we're having a conversation. On Mondays we have a focus. And the focus on Monday is what's happening in our world. Now, what we shared with you was a historical moment where the new president of the General Conference of Seventh-day Adventists have been selected. Yes, so this is the 62nd General Conference session being held in St. Louis, Missouri. Yes. And so it's a historic moment. So Michael G, now you are sharing with us on what has been happening in the background leading up to this selection process. And so what are one of the discussions that have been happening in the Seventh-day Adventist Church? So you have to break it down to us. Break it down, Michael G. You break it down. So if you're listening from anywhere, you're free to chime in the conversation. Welcome to the Breakfast Hour. If you're in the Cayman Islands and you get an extra hour in your bed, say thank you, Jesus, because today is Constitution Day in the Cayman Islands. It's a public holiday. If you are in the US, you had your holiday already. 4th of July was Friday, and of course, a lot of fireworks and backyard barbecues and all that sort of things. But let's get back to the conversation at hand as we are getting ready to get out of studio. Now you're sharing with us
some steamed fish and okra.
Yes, of steamed fish and okra. Yeah, nice, nice.
All
But
right.
anyway, Mikey G, you share with us what you were sharing with us. You said that there was something, a conversation happening within the Seventh Day Adventist Church.
All right, so we are having a conversation around the idea of what you consider supporting ministries or independent ministries, and so these independent ministries are having they are not going to be funded. I think there's some funding that will go to the ones who are supporting ministries. You are funded by the church somehow.
Yes.
But the independent ministries are not going to be funded by the church, or I'm not sure the alignment of how it actually works.
Mm-hmm.
I am yet to understand the mechanism of that, but I heard the distinction between the two, and the independent ministries are not necessarily favored.
So what we could do, Mikey G, is probably get the statement.
Yeah.
I haven't heard the conversation, but to be honest, I don't have a lot of information on how you would make the distinction, what is independent and what is, and
I think
would have to.
the consideration was that the independent ministries, the ministry that don't collect any offering or tithing is called I named two ministries, not the
Independent.
No, they are called the supporting ministries.
Self-supported.
No, supporting ministries. Those are the ones that we say they are supporting ministries.
Yes.
And say they don't collect any tithes or offering, but the ones who do collect tithes or offering or any that may matter, they are the ones who are considered independent ministries, because you're actually collecting money to support the ministry that you're doing.
Right.
And you're independent of the church's support in that sense. So the question I'm asking is, so if you're doing independent ministry, you shouldn't solicit any funds from anybody who would support the ministry that you're doing. If they see that it's something good you're doing, you're reaching people in different places. You have to have the resources of buying equipment. You have to travel to these places. You have to, if you need to assist someone in maybe in need of help in terms of healthcare or even with food, not just food items, but the ability to get someone who may need some level of treatment. I don't know. How do you get money for that if you don't get money from anywhere?
Well,
And if you're someone,
I'm actually researching as we speak to get to.
and if you're someone who's in ministry full time, how do you eat? Because you're not working anywhere else sometimes. Yes, you can go and do a little bit of job here and there but if you're in here full time, how do you eat when you're actually doing something full time in this mega capacity? All right, so Flashpoint is in this sense would have been regarded as, when I classify Flashpoint, because we have what we call Flashpoint Media Ministry. So we are going to be comfortably saying that we are not funded or supported by the church in that regard, in terms of monetary funding in that regard. But we do have persons who will bless us with a gift, monetary gift from time to time. It's not as often as we'd like it to be, but we do get that kind of, but then we do support Flashpoint by earning money from persons who will buy into our services that we offer.
Right.
So we sell services to get money to do ministry and to feed ourselves. And this is how we do it. So if that's the case, then shouldn't we get more persons to actually who would love to see us go further and do more to want to support us and give donations and give gifts that we can get monetary, whether be it monetary or otherwise. We need a new building. We need a building space for Flashpoint. We need a house for Flashpoint. Is there a building that someone has that you can call me on this number 1345-321-6969 or 1345-927-7509? Just call me directly and tell me about that building that you'd want to donate to Flashpoint, that we can have a nice, lovely, much bigger studio than the one we have right now. That we can do much more for the ministry and for others. How about that? So I'm asking for that now. So I'm putting it out there in the atmosphere, because if you don't ask, you don't get. And if somebody hear my call for it, please, it's not something that we are saying lightly. And this is just about anywhere. So it doesn't matter where the location is. Just tell us that you have a building that you want to donate to Flashpoint, and we'll be happy to receive it, and we'll be thanking you for it. And if you have donations and money that you want to give us to help support our ministry, we are happy for it. Of course, simply get in contact with us in the same way, and we will we can actually tell you how to go further. Of course, there's on our website a button of where you can donate as well. So please go there, look at our website, press the donation button, and do just that. You can give by any means necessary that you'd like to support. And of course, if you have a car that you have that you're not using, we can use that one too. So thank you very much. And it's really where it is. We're happy to have that, because we have people who want to take from place to place, and we actually need motor vehicles or vehicle to take the equipment and other personnel to different locations from time to time. And so if we do get these gifts, we're going to be thankful for them. So if you have anything at all that you would like to donate to Flashpoint, it's not here or there, a television that you're not using, one of those, then it come, man, we'll take it, no worries. All right, having said that, Lady Elise, I guess we have wrapped up this morning's experience. We have 1 minute to go, and I guess we can say
yes. It has been a wonderful morning. So much happening in our world. Remember, Monday we highlight the things that are happening in our world. Now, you can be a part of this conversation as well. If you want to highlight something that's happening in your neck of the woods or your community, please be sure to send us a message on 345-321-6969. That number is available on WhatsApp. I'll repeat, 345-321-6969. You can also send us an email at info@flashpointmedia.ky. We'll be happy to share what's happening in your community as well. So as we prepare to exit the studio, just remind you to keep in prayers the persons who are affected by the flood waters over there in Texas. Already the death toll has reached over 80. A lot of young girls, of course, young children who were at a camp were also victims of this dangerous flood. Of course, the River Guadalupe swell. I mean, of course, they had over 26 feet of water.
Are you saying
within an hour?
Are you saying, Lady Elise, that is there only girls at the camp, no boys were there?
It was a girls' camp. It was a girls' camp. As far as I have done my research,
I didn't realize that. Because I keep hearing the girls. I'm saying, where are the boys?
Yes,
it was a girls'
camp. Right. So over there in Carl community in Texas, we have also members of the team, the staff that were always taken away by the flood waters. So we do keep the family members, the community at large in prayers. Also a reminder for us here in the Cayman Islands to be prepared for the hurricane season, to do the necessary prep work, one step at a time. We are already in July, and of course we have tropical depression Chantal impacting areas in Virginia. So just remember those persons, be listening out to all the updates from the Hurricane Center. If you need to get the app for the location that you are, do the necessary research so that you're in the know, right? Also, we shared this morning that there is increase in measles outbreak also in the US. And
Yes.
of course, that is because persons are not being vaccinated. So you can do your research, know where if some persons are traveling to the US, know the symptoms of fever. Are you vaccinated? Do you have the MMR vaccine? Is it on your record? This is a time to check. So know where you're going this holiday for your vacation. And of course, we say congratulations to the new president of the General Conference of Seventh Day Adventists. And that's a wrap for me. Have yourself a wonderful day from the entire Flashpoint team.
Lady Lisa, I thank you for that wrapping up. I'm just baffled by the thought about those young ladies that losing their lives, and 80 as a number is not a good sign. I would say as we go through today, we want to say thank God for His mercy is justice, even when it seems like there's no mercy. 80, don't look so good. God, what happened to you? The question. Where are you? Where are you when we need you? And sometimes we can shake our fist in the face of God and say, God, you have disappointed us.
Yes.
But we keep forgetting how our ancestors accepted the cunning speech of the enemy and say yes to that, and continue today keep saying yes.
Yes.
And we stop thinking that this has nothing to do with God. God does not want to see His children suffer or anyone suffer.
Yes.
But it is just an event of sin. I want to say thank you for joining us this morning for the breakfast hour. Of course, this morning's experience was brought to you by M&M Construction and Asai Ultrasound for all your ultrasound needs right here in the Cayman Islands. Of course, catch us tomorrow morning, same time, same place. But we did it all over again for you. Of course, tomorrow we're talking about finances, and of course, our Financial Tuesday comes up tomorrow morning right here on Flashpoint. Have yourself a wonderful day, guys. Remember, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That every time one of these programs comes up, you will get it first. Please, tell somebody. Help somebody. Have yourself a wonderful day. Ladies.
Have yourself a wonderful day and be blessed. Stay safe, everyone. See you tomorrow, same time, same place. Stick to Flashpoint. Remember, you can listen to our web radio via www.flashpointmedia.ky. Remember to take Flashpoint everywhere you go.
Scott, and you're listening to Flashpoint Radio. Rise and shine. Your morning boost of inspiration, news, and fun. With Mikey G, Lady Elise, and Coralie Karen, the unmistakable combination, synergized to navigate.
It's like we're running in circles, going around every day, getting stuck in the hurdles of yesterday. Don't you wanna go further, away from the fray? Let's not get stuck in our worries, we'll make our own way. Won't you come outside where the sunflowers bloom? Breathe in the air, look up to the moon. meet you outside, away from the crowd. Just you and me together, it will all seem there outside. Just us in the sky. I will go wherever, I'll be yours forever.
Have yourself a flashpoint day. Start your breakfast the flashpoint way and cruise through lunch and then to dinner. With Flashpoint Radio. Flashpoint Radio is a class. Flashpoint Radio for gospel, inspiration, motivation, and meditation. Anywhere you go, take Flashpoint with you. Flashpoint Radio.